My entire family is calling me a monster because I refused to give my kidney to save my father's life. The same father who abandoned me when I was 8 years old and started a whole new family, like I never existed. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying these moral dilemma stories, please subscribe to Who's the Villain, AITA, and hit that like button. Also, drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I love seeing where you all are. Now let me tell you why everyone thinks I'm the villain here. I'm 32M, and my father is 58. I haven't seen him in person for 24 years, not since the day he packed his bags and walked out on my mom and me. I remember it so clearly. It was a Tuesday morning in March. I was eating cereal before school, and he just said, "I can't do this anymore," and left. No explanation, no goodbye hug, nothing. Mom was 7 months pregnant with what would have been my little sister, but she miscarried 2 weeks after he left. The stress, the doctor said. My mom worked 3 jobs to keep us afloat. 3. She was a nurse during the day, cleaned offices at night, and did medical transcription on weekends. I barely saw her, but she made sure I had everything I needed. She never once badmouthed my father to me, even though I know now that he stopped paying child support after the first 6 months. She had to take him to court twice, and even then, he was always between jobs, so the payments were joke amounts, like $150 a month when the court ordered $800. I found out years later through my aunt that my dad moved to another state, married a woman named Patricia, who had 2 kids from a previous marriage. Then they had 2 more kids together. So he had 4 kids he was raising, while completely ignoring my existence. That messed me up more than I can explain. It wasn't that he couldn't be a father. He just didn't want to be my father. When I was 16, I tried to reach out. I found his number and called him on my birthday. Patricia answered. I said, "Hi, this is Marcus. I'm looking for David Anderson. He's my father." There was this long silence. Then she said, "David doesn't have any other children," and hung up. I called back 3 times, and she kept hanging up. I sent a letter to his address that my aunt gave me. It came back, returned to sender. That's when I finally accepted that he wanted nothing to do with me. My mom died when I was 23. Breast cancer. She fought for 2 years, but it had spread before they caught it. You want to know something that still makes me angry? My father didn't come to her funeral. My aunt told him she died, and he sent a $100 Visa gift card with a generic "sorry for your loss" card from the grocery store. $100. For the woman who sacrificed everything because he abandoned us. I met my wife Sarah when I was 25. She helped me work through a lot of the abandonment issues, got me into therapy, supported me. We got married 3 years ago, and we have an 18-month-old daughter named Emma. Life was finally good, you know. I had built something solid without him. Then 6 weeks ago, I got a Facebook message from a woman named Stephanie. "Hi Marcus, you don't know me, but I'm your half-sister. Dad is really sick and needs a kidney transplant. The doctors said family members are the best chance for a match. Can we talk?" I stared at that message for like an hour. Part of me wanted to just block her and pretend I never saw it. But curiosity got the better of me, so I called the number she gave me. Stephanie is 28. She seemed nice enough, really nervous on the phone. She said our father has end-stage renal disease and has been on dialysis for 8 months. His kidneys are functioning at less than 10%. He needs a transplant, or he'll die within the next year or 2, probably less. She, her full brother Connor, 26M, and the 2 step-siblings he raised all got tested. None of them are matches. The stepkids aren't biologically related, so that's not surprising. But apparently Stephanie and Connor aren't compatible matches either. The doctors said we need to test any other biological relatives. Stephanie said. Dad told us he had another son from his first marriage. I'm so sorry we never reached out before. Dad always said. He said it was complicated. Complicated? I said. He abandoned me when I was 8. That's not complicated. That's just being a deadbeat. She got quiet. I didn't know. He never really talked about it. Please, Marcus, he's dying. I told her I needed time to think. That was 5 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, my father himself called me. First time I'd heard his voice in 24 years. Marcus, it's Dad. Just hearing him call himself Dad made my blood pressure spike. What do you want, David? So, we're doing this? You won't even call me Dad? You stopped being my dad when you walked out and never looked back. What do you want? He sighed, like I was being the difficult one. Stephanie told me she reached out. I know we have a complicated history, but I need your help. I'm dying, Marcus. You knew where I was for 24 years. You could have reached out any time. Why now? I made mistakes. I was young. I was scared. Your mother and I were fighting constantly. She was pregnant, I interrupted. She was pregnant with your daughter and you left. Then she miscarried because of the stress. Did you know that? Did you even care? Silence. Then, I didn't know about the miscarriage. Marcus, I was in a bad place. You know what a bad place is. Working 3 jobs as a single mom. Having your dad hang up on you on your 16th birthday. Watching your mother die and having your father send a gift card to the funeral. Those are bad places. I know I wasn't there, he said, and his voice cracked. I know I failed you. I was a coward. But please, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, please get tested. You might be my only chance. You had 24 years of chances to be my father. I don't owe you anything. I'm not asking for me, he said. I'm asking for your sisters and brother. Stephanie, Connor. They're good kids. They shouldn't have to lose their father. That made me see red. Oh, so they get a father and I didn't? They get to grow up with you at their soccer games and graduations and I got nothing. And now I'm supposed to give up an organ so they can keep you. Marcus, I have a daughter now. She's 18 months old. What if something happens to me and she needs a kidney someday? What if I have complications from the surgery and I die on the table? Then my daughter grows up without a father just like I did. Why would I risk that for someone who was never there for me? Because I'm your father, he said quietly. No, I said. You're the sperm donor. A father shows up. And I hung up. But that wasn't the end. Oh no. 2 weeks ago, Stephanie started a whole social media campaign. She made a Facebook post with pictures of my father in the hospital. All the tubes and machines, looking weak and pale. The post said, "My father is dying and needs a kidney transplant. His oldest son refuses to even get tested to see if he's a match. Please help me convince Marcus Anderson to save his father's life." She tagged me in it. Within hours, I had hundreds of messages. Most were from their friends and family, calling me heartless, selfish, a monster. How can you let your father die? It's just a kidney, you have 2. Family is everything. You're going to regret this when he's gone. But there were also messages from people who knew our history. My aunt commented, "Where was he when Marcus needed a father? When Marcus's mother worked herself to exhaustion? When she died?" Some of my friends came to my defense too. The post went semi-viral in our area. Over 2,000 shares. My wife's co-workers saw it. My boss saw it. Even my daughter's daycare teachers mentioned it awkwardly when I picked her up. Then my father's wife, Patricia, called me. The same woman who told 16-year-old me that I didn't exist. "You need to stop being selfish and help your father," she said. No hello. No apology for the past. Excuse me? This is the first time you've acknowledged my existence in 16 years. That's not fair. David was trying to move on with his life. By pretending I didn't exist? How did that work out for him? He made mistakes, but he's a good father to our children. They need him. And I needed him too. Where was this energy when I was a kid? You're being vindictive. You're punishing him for the past. I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm just not saving him. There's a difference. I don't owe him my organs. You'll regret this when he's dead. You'll have to live with knowing you could have saved him. And he has to die knowing he could have been my father, I said, and hung up. Last week it escalated even further. They hired a lawyer. Apparently you can't legally force someone to donate an organ. But this lawyer sent me a letter saying that my father's family was exploring all legal options and that they would be pursuing a claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress and potentially negligent homicide if David dies while I refuse to help. My lawyer laughed and said they have no case, but the letter freaked me out anyway. Can you imagine being sued for not giving away your organ? Then, 4 days ago, the worst thing happened. Stephanie, Connor, and about 15 other people showed up at my house, where my wife and baby daughter live. They had signs. Save David Anderson. Marcus, have a heart. Don't let him die. My wife Sarah was home alone with Emma when they showed up. She called me at work, terrified. She said there were people with signs on our lawn chanting, "Marcus, do the right thing." I left work immediately and called the cops on the way. When I got home, the police were already there, telling them they had to leave or they'd be arrested for trespassing. Stephanie was crying, saying, "We're just trying to save our father." When they finally left, I found Sarah sitting on the floor of Emma's nursery, shaking, holding our daughter. Emma was crying from all the commotion. "This is insane," Sarah said. "They brought this to our home, to our baby." That night, we found our car had been keyed. Someone spray-painted "murderer" on our garage door. I filed a police report. I'm getting a restraining order. I'm furious. But here's what's messing with my head. 2 days ago, Stephanie sent me a video. It's my father, in his hospital bed, and he looks bad. Really bad. He's lost probably 40 pounds since I last saw his photos. His skin has this grayish tint. He's crying in the video. "Marcus, son, please," he says to the camera. "I know I failed you. I know I wasn't the father you deserved. But please don't let me die like this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If you save me, I promise I'll spend whatever time I have left making it up to you. Please. I'm begging you." I watched that video 10 times. Each time I felt more conflicted. My wife says I shouldn't feel guilty at all. "He made his choices," she says. "You don't owe him anything. Definitely not after what his family did to us." My therapist says this is my decision alone, and whatever I choose is valid, but I should examine what I need for closure. My best friend Jake says, "Dude, it's major surgery. You could have complications. You have a wife and kid to think about. Plus, screw him for only showing up when he needs something." But then I think about what Patricia said. Will I regret this when he dies? Will I feel guilty for the rest of my life? I also can't stop thinking about Stephanie and Connor. They seem like good people who are just desperate to save their dad. It's not their fault he was a terrible father to me. Should they lose their father because of what he did to me? Yesterday, my aunt, my mom's sister, called me. She's the only family I have left from my mom's side. "I saw what's happening online," she said. "I want you to know your mother would support whatever you decide." "Really? Even if I let him die?" "Marcus, your mother was the most forgiving person I knew, but even she had limits. She never forgave him for abandoning you. She cried herself to sleep so many nights after he left. That miscarriage nearly killed her, emotionally, not just physically. She spent years protecting you from the truth about how bad things were financially. She gave up everything. So you think I shouldn't do it?" "I think," she said carefully, "that you need to do what's right for you. Not for him, not for his other kids, not for anyone else. What do you need? If giving him the kidney will give you peace, do it. If not giving it will, then don't. But don't let guilt or pressure decide for you." That conversation just made everything more complicated. This morning, I got a call from the transplant coordinator at the hospital. She was very professional and explained that if I wanted to get tested, it would be a simple blood test first to see if I'm even a match. If I'm not, this whole thing is moot anyway. There's no pressure, she said, but if you're considering it, time is a factor. David's condition is deteriorating. So now I'm sitting here, writing this all out, trying to figure out what to do. My father is dying. I'm possibly the only person who can save him. The same father who abandoned me, who let me grow up without him, who chose his new family over me every single day for 24 years. On one hand, he's dying, and I have the power to potentially save him. On the other hand, he made his choices and lived with them fine, until now, when he needs something from me. Some people say family is everything, and you always help family. But is he really family? Or is he just someone who shares my DNA? I keep thinking about Emma. What would I want her to do if she was in this situation? Would I want her to risk surgery for someone who hurt her? No. I'd want her to protect herself. But then I think about him dying, and Stephanie and Connor losing their father, and I wonder if I could really live with that. The surgery has risks too. Kidney donation is usually safe, but there can be complications: infection, bleeding, blood clots, even death in rare cases. What if something happens to me and Emma grows up without her father? What if I need a kidney someday and I gave mine away? My wife says if I even consider doing this, she wants me to get everything in writing, that they'll leave us alone, no more harassment, no more showing up at our house. She wants a restraining order to stay in place. She says, if you do this incredibly generous thing for him, they need to respect our boundaries. Part of me feels like that's reasonable. If I'm going to literally give him a piece of my body, the least they can do is leave my family alone. But another part of me feels like I'm trying to negotiate when someone's life is on the line. Like I'm being petty. I called the hospital coordinator back and told her I'd think about doing the initial blood test, just to see if I'm even a match. That doesn't commit me to anything, right? If I'm not a match, this whole problem goes away. But what if I am a match? Then what? Everyone keeps telling me what they think I should do, but at the end of the day, I'm the one who has to live with the decision. I'm the one who either has to live with guilt if he dies, or risk surgery and recovery and the chance of complications if I do it. And honestly, I'm angry that I'm even in this position. He put me here. He created this situation by being a deadbeat father for 24 years and then showing up with his hand out when he needs something. There's also this voice in my head, and I'm not proud of this, that says if I give him my kidney, he'll just disappear again once he's better. That he'll be grateful for like 6 months and then slowly fade back to ignoring me, because that's who he is. But what if he really has changed? What if almost dying has made him realize what he lost? What if he really would spend his remaining years trying to make amends? God, I don't know. I really don't know what to do. So that's where I am. My father's family is calling me a murderer. My wife is ready to go to war to protect us from them. My father is dying, and I'm the only one who might be able to save him. The blood test appointment is scheduled for next Tuesday. I keep changing my mind about whether I'm going to go. Am I the villain here for even hesitating? Or am I the villain if I let him die? So I went to the blood test appointment on Tuesday. I know. Half of you are probably thinking I'm crazy for even considering this, and the other half are thinking I should have done it immediately. Let me tell you what happened after that decision, because things got so much worse before they got better. Or maybe they didn't get better at all. I honestly can't tell anymore. Sarah was furious when I told her I was going to get tested. We had our biggest fight since we got married. "You're actually going to do this," she said, "after they showed up at our house, after they terrorized me and Emma, after they keyed our car and called you a murderer?" "I'm just getting tested," I said. "It doesn't mean I'm doing it. I just need to know if I even can before I make a decision." "That's bullshit and you know it," she said. "Once you know you're a match, the pressure is going to be 10 times worse. They're going to say, you know you can save him, and you're choosing not to. Right now, you can at least say, you don't know." She had a point. She usually does, but I couldn't shake this feeling that I needed to know. Maybe I was hoping I wouldn't be a match, and the decision would be made for me. The test itself was quick, just blood work. The transplant coordinator, her name is Monica, was really kind. She explained that they'd check for blood type compatibility first, then tissue typing, then cross-matching. The whole process takes about a week. "I want to be clear," Monica said. "Even if you're a match, you can decline at any point. You are not obligated to donate. We have counselors available if you need to talk through the decision." I appreciated that. At least someone was treating me like a human being, instead of a villain or a savior. When I left the hospital, I saw Stephanie sitting in the waiting area. She jumped up when she saw me. "Marcus, did you do it? Did you get tested? How did you know I'd be here?" She looked embarrassed. "Dad's coordinator told us someone from the family was coming in for testing. We figured it might be you. Please tell me you did it." "I did the blood work," I said. "But Stephanie, you need to understand. Getting tested doesn't mean I'm doing it. I need time to process all of this." Her eyes filled with tears. Thank you so much. I know we came on too strong. The protest at your house, that was Connor's idea, and I told him it was too much. I'm so sorry about that. Your people keyed my car and spray-painted my garage," I said. "That wasn't us," she said quickly. "I swear. When we left, everyone left. Someone must have come back, but I don't know who. We never wanted it to get like that." I wanted to believe her, but I wasn't sure I could trust any of them. "Stephanie, if I do this, and that's a huge if, I need your family to leave mine alone. No more social media posts tagging me. No more showing up at my house. No more pressure campaigns. If I do this, it's because I decided to, not because you guilted me into it." "Of course," she said eagerly. "Whatever you need. We just want Dad to have a chance." I left feeling weird about the whole interaction. She seemed genuine, but I couldn't forget that these were the same people who had terrorized my wife just a week ago. The next few days were tense. Sarah barely spoke to me. She took Emma to her mother's house for 2 nights, to think. When she came back, she sat me down. "I need to know something," she said. "If you do this and something happens to you during surgery, if you die or have complications, I need to know it was your decision, not because you felt pressured or guilty. Can you honestly tell me that?" I couldn't answer right away, which I think told her everything. "That's what I thought," she said quietly. "Marcus, I love you. I love that you have a good heart. But this man doesn't deserve it. And more importantly, Emma and I need you here, healthy and whole." "I know," I said. "I'm still figuring it out." She nodded, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. 3 days after the test, Monica called me. "Marcus, I have your results. Are you somewhere private where we can talk?" My heart started pounding. I went into my home office and closed the door. "You're a match," she said. "Blood type, tissue typing, and cross-match all came back compatible. You're actually an excellent match, better than we usually see outside of siblings." I sat down heavily in my chair. Part of me had been hoping I wouldn't match, that the decision would be taken out of my hands. What does that mean exactly? I asked. It means that if you choose to donate, the likelihood of his body accepting the kidney is very high. His chances of survival and recovery would be significantly better with your kidney than with someone less compatible. And if I don't? She paused. His name came up on the transplant list, but given his age and condition, it could be months or even years before a deceased donor kidney becomes available. His doctors estimate he has maybe 12 to 18 months on dialysis before his other organs start failing. A living donor is his best shot. How risky is the surgery for me? Kidney donation is one of the safest major surgeries we do, she explained. The risk of death is about 0.03%, roughly 3 in 10,000. Most donors recover fully within 4 to 6 weeks. Long term, you can live a completely normal life with one kidney. However, there are risks: infection, bleeding, blood clots, and in very rare cases, the remaining kidney could fail later in life. What are the odds of my remaining kidney failing? Very low in a healthy person like you, but it's not zero. That's why we screen donors carefully. If you had high blood pressure, diabetes, or kidney disease in your family history, we wouldn't approve you. But you're healthy, young, and your kidney function is excellent. How soon would I need to decide? There's no absolute deadline, she said, but given David's deteriorating condition, sooner is better. If you're interested in moving forward, we'd need to do some additional tests and psychological evaluation. The whole process from here takes about 4-6 weeks. I thanked her and hung up. Then I just sat there for probably an hour, staring at the wall. I was a match, an excellent match, which meant if he died now, it would be because I chose not to save him. That night, I made the mistake of Googling refusing to donate kidney to family member. Big mistake. The internet is divided into two camps: people who say you should never risk your health for anyone, especially someone who wronged you, and people who say refusing to donate when you're a match makes you basically a murderer. One comment stuck with me. Imagine telling your daughter when she's older that you let her grandfather die when you could have saved him. How do you explain that? But another one said, your first responsibility is to your wife and child. Don't risk leaving them to save someone who abandoned you. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my father in that video, begging for his life. Then I'd see my mom, working 3 jobs, exhausted and alone. Then Emma, growing up without a father because I died in surgery. The next morning, before I could change my mind, I called Stephanie and asked to meet with her and Connor. Just them, no one else. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our cities. Connor looks exactly like our father. Same eyes, same chin. It was jarring seeing him in person. He's a firefighter, seems like a solid guy. Stephanie works as a teacher. They're both married. Both seem to have good lives. I'm a match, I said without preamble. Stephanie gasped and started crying immediately. Connor looked like he might cry too. Thank God, Connor said. Marcus, you have no idea what this means. I haven't decided if I'm doing it, I interrupted. I need to understand some things first. They both nodded eagerly. Tell me about him, I said. What kind of father was he to you? They looked at each other. Stephanie spoke first. He was great. He came to every school play, every parent-teacher conference. He coached Connor's little league team. He taught us both to drive. When I went through a bad breakup in college, he drove 6 hours to bring me home for the weekend. He's been a really good dad. Every word felt like a knife. He did all of that for them, none of it for me. Did he ever talk about me? I asked, another look between them. Connor answered this time. Not really. We knew you existed. Mom told us Dad had been married before and had a son, but Dad never brought you up. If we asked, he'd just say it was complicated and change the subject. I think he was ashamed. Ashamed of me? No, Stephanie said quickly. Ashamed of what he did. Leaving you. Mom told us a few years ago that Dad had abandonment issues from his own childhood. His dad left when he was 10. She said he freaked out when your mom got pregnant, and he ran. She didn't excuse it, but she said he went to therapy after they got together and worked through it. He worked through his issues and became a great father, I said bitterly. Just not to me. I'm not saying it was okay, Stephanie said. It wasn't. What he did to you was terrible. But people can change. He's not that scared 28-year-old anymore. He had 24 years to reach out, I said. He never did. Connor leaned forward. I asked him about that once a few years ago. I said, why don't you try to contact Marcus? He said he was too ashamed, that he'd hurt you so badly that you'd never forgive him anyway. So why reopen the wound? I told him that was cowardly. We actually fought about it. You fought with him about me? Yeah. I said he should try to make amends before it was too late. He said he'd already caused enough damage. Connor shook his head. I guess he was right about the too late part. He just didn't know it would be because he needed your help. We sat in silence for a moment. If I do this, I said slowly, I need some things to be clear. First, no more harassment, no more protests, no more social media campaigns, nothing. My wife and daughter don't deserve to be dragged into this. Absolutely, Stephanie said. That got out of control. It won't happen again. Second, I need to know that if I do this, he's going to be in my life after. Not just a thank you card and then back to ignoring me. If I'm giving him years of his life back, I need him to actually be a grandfather to Emma. To show up. I'll make sure of it, Connor said. We both will. And third, I paused. This one was harder. I need him to admit what he did. Really admit it. Not just I made mistakes, but to actually acknowledge the damage he caused. To me, to my mom, to my childhood. I need him to own it. They both nodded. I'll talk to him, Stephanie said. When can you come to the hospital? I didn't say I was doing it, I said. I said if I do it, those are my conditions. But we all knew I was close to saying yes. I could feel myself tipping toward it, even though part of me was screaming not to. When I got home, Sarah knew immediately. You're going to do it, she said. It wasn't a question. I don't know yet. Yes, you do. I can see it on your face. She sat down on the couch, looking defeated. You've already decided. Sarah. It's fine, she said, but her voice said it wasn't fine. It's your body, your choice. I just hope you're doing it for the right reasons. What are the right reasons? I don't know, she admitted. Maybe there aren't any right reasons when it comes to something like this. Just make sure you're not doing it out of guilt or pressure. Make sure you can live with it. That weekend, I went to see my Aunt Carol, my mom's sister. I needed to talk to someone who knew the whole history and wasn't emotionally invested in either outcome. We sat in her garden, drinking iced tea, and I told her everything. About the test, about being a match, about meeting Stephanie and Connor. They seem like good people, I said, and it's not their fault. He was a terrible father to me. No, it's not, Carol agreed. But that doesn't obligate you to risk surgery for him. I keep thinking about Mom, I said. What would she want me to do? Carol was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Your mother was the most forgiving person I ever knew. She forgave everyone, sometimes to her own detriment. But Marcus, even she never forgave David. Not really. She never badmouthed him to me. No, because she didn't want to poison you against your father. She wanted you to form your own opinion. But she never forgave him for leaving, for abandoning you, for forcing her to struggle alone. She never said it out loud, but I know she hoped that one day he'd realize what he'd lost and come back. He never did. So you think she'd want me to refuse?" "I think," Carol said carefully, "she'd want you to protect yourself. She spent her whole life protecting you. She wouldn't want you to put yourself at risk for someone who hurt you both so deeply." "But she also taught me to help people," I said. "She was a nurse. She dedicated her life to saving people." "She saved people who deserved saving," Carol said. "People who were victims of circumstance, of illness, of accidents. Your father is a victim of his own choices. There's a difference." I left Carol's house feeling more confused than ever. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of my father in his hospital bed. He looked even worse than in the video. The text said, "Please don't let me die. I'm sorry. Please. Dad." I showed it to Sarah. "How did he get my number?" "Stephanie probably gave it to him," she said. "Marcus, this is manipulation. They're trying to guilt you into it." Maybe she was right. But looking at that photo, seeing how sick he was, I felt something shift in me. The next day, I called Monica. "I want to move forward with the additional testing," I said. There was a pause. "Are you sure? You sound uncertain." "I'm terrified," I admitted. "But I think I need to do this. Not for him. For me. So I can live with myself." "Okay," she said gently. "Let's schedule the next round of tests. And Marcus, I want you to meet with our transplant psychiatrist. It's standard procedure, but I think it would be especially helpful for you, given the complicated family dynamics." The psychiatric evaluation was scheduled for the following week. In the meantime, I had to tell people what I'd decided. My best friend Jake thought I was insane. "Dude, you're going to give a kidney to a man who abandoned you. Have you lost your mind?" My coworker Tom, who I'd confided in, said, "I get it, man. My dad was absent too. But you're a bigger person than he ever was. You're breaking the cycle." The responses were all over the map. My wife's parents thought I was being too forgiving. My therapist said it was my decision, but wanted to make sure I'd thought through all the implications. But the person I really needed to talk to was my father. Stephanie arranged for me to visit him in the hospital the next day. I told Sarah I was going. "Do you want me to come with you?" she asked. "No, I need to do this alone." "Okay, but Marcus, please be careful. Don't let him manipulate you." When I walked into his hospital room, I almost didn't recognize him. He'd lost so much weight. His skin was grayish. His eyes were sunken. He had tubes and monitors everywhere. When he saw me, he started crying. "Marcus," he whispered, "you came." I stood at the foot of his bed, keeping my distance. "I came to talk, that's all. Thank you. Thank you for getting tested. Stephanie told me you're a match. I can't believe." "I have conditions," I interrupted. He nodded quickly. "Anything. Whatever you need. First, I need to know why. Why did you leave? Why did you never come back?" He closed his eyes. When he opened them, tears were streaming down his face. "I was scared," he said. "Your mom and I were fighting all the time. Money was tight. She was pregnant again, and I was barely handling one kid, let alone two. My own father left when I was 10, and I swore I'd never do that. But then, I found myself turning into him. So you ran. I ran, he admitted. I told myself I'd come back once I got my head together. But then days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. I met Patricia. She had her life together. Her kids were already older. It was easier. I took the coward's way out. You had 3 more kids with her, I said. So it wasn't about not being able to handle kids. It was about not wanting me, specifically. No, he said forcefully, then started coughing. When he caught his breath, he continued. It wasn't you. It was never you. You were a great kid, smart, funny, kind. It was me. I was broken. I didn't know how to be a father. But you figured it out with them. I went to therapy, he said. I dealt with my own abandonment issues. By the time I had Stephanie, I was in a better place. But by then, so much time had passed. I didn't know how to come back into your life. I figured you were better off without me. That wasn't your decision to make, I said. I needed my father. Mom needed support. She worked herself to death, literally, because you left. I know, he sobbed. I know, and I hate myself for it. I sent money when I could. $150 a month, I said. You sent $150 a month when you were supposed to send $800. That's not helping. That's insulting. I was paying child support for Patricia's kids too, and our mortgage. So your new family came first. Always. He couldn't argue with that because it was true. When Mom died, I said, my voice breaking, you sent a gift card, a $100 Visa gift card, for the funeral of the woman you were married to, who gave birth to your son, who raised that son alone because you abandoned us. A gift card. I didn't know what to do, he said weakly. I thought money was more practical than flowers. She deserved more than that, I shouted. She deserved for you to show up. She deserved for you to tell me you were sorry for putting everything on her. She deserved... I couldn't continue. I was crying now too. We sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, he spoke. You're right. About all of it. I was a coward and a failure, and I destroyed lives because I was too weak to deal with my own problems. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve your help, but I'm begging you anyway, because I'm still a selfish coward who wants to live. At least he was being honest. If I do this, I said, you don't get to disappear again. You're going to be in my life. You're going to know your granddaughter. You're going to show up. I will, he promised. I swear I will. And you're going to tell Stephanie and Connor the truth, the whole truth about what you did to me and Mom. No more it's complicated. They need to know who their father really was. He flinched but nodded. Okay, I'll tell them. And you're going to apologize to Sarah. She and Emma got dragged into this mess because your family harassed us. That needs to be addressed. Of course. Whatever you need. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He was dying. Despite everything, despite all the pain he'd caused, he was still my father. And I had the power to save him. I'm doing the surgery, I said. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it so I can look my daughter in the eye someday and tell her that when someone needed help, even someone who hurt me, I was the bigger person. I'm doing it to break the cycle of abandonment. He reached out his hand toward me. I didn't take it. Don't make me regret this, I said, and walked out. In the hallway, I called Sarah. It's done, I said. I'm doing it. She was quiet for a moment. Then, okay, then I'm with you. Whatever happens, we're in this together. I love you, I said. I love you too. Even when I think you're being crazy. The psychiatric evaluation happened 3 days later. Dr. Chen was thorough. Why are you doing this? She asked. Honestly, I don't know if I'm doing it for the right reasons or the wrong ones. Maybe there are no right reasons. But I know if I don't do it and he dies, I'll always wonder if I could have lived with that choice. Are you afraid of the surgery? Terrified, I admitted. Not just of complications, but of what comes after. What if I do this and he goes back to ignoring me? What if I give him life and he wastes it? Those are valid fears, she said. Have you discussed them with your father? I've made my conditions clear. He's agreed to them. Whether he follows through is another story. And if he doesn't? Then at least I'll know I tried. I'll know I was the better person. She made notes. I'm approving you for the donation, she said finally. But I want you to continue therapy throughout this process. You're making a major decision under complicated emotional circumstances. You need support. The surgery was scheduled for 3 weeks out. That gave me time to get my affairs in order. Literally. I updated my will. I talked to my life insurance agent. I had conversations with Sarah about what would happen if something went wrong. Don't talk like that, she said. You're going to be fine. But if I'm not, if you're not, Emma and I will be okay. We'll be devastated, but we'll survive. Just like you survived when your dad left. We're stronger than we think. 2 weeks before the surgery, I got a call from Connor. Hey Marcus, I wanted to let you know. Dad told us everything, the whole story, about leaving you, about your mom, about the child support he didn't pay, all of it. How did you take it? I'm pretty angry, honestly. Stephanie is too. We had no idea it was that bad. He always made it sound like your mom didn't want him around or something. He lied to protect himself, I said. Yeah. I confronted him about it. Told him he's lucky you're even considering this after what he did. He knows. He's ashamed, if that matters. It doesn't change the past, I said. No, but maybe it changes the future. For what it's worth, Marcus, you're a better man than I would be in your situation. That conversation actually made me feel better. At least his other kids knew the truth now. 1 week before surgery, the hospital called. There was a problem with the scheduling. The OR I was supposed to have wasn't available. They could either postpone by 2 weeks or move it up by 3 days. Move it up, I said, without hesitation. If I waited 2 more weeks, I might lose my nerve. So suddenly, instead of having a week to prepare, I had 3 days. Those 3 days were a blur. Final medical tests, pre-op appointments, explaining to Emma in age-appropriate terms that Daddy was going to the hospital to help someone. She's only 18 months old, so she didn't really understand, but I tried. The night before surgery, I couldn't sleep. I got up at 2 a.m. and found Sarah sitting in the living room. Couldn't sleep either? I asked. I'm terrified, she admitted. What if something goes wrong? Then you'll be okay. You and Emma will be okay. That's not what I'm worried about, she said. I'm worried about losing you. I'm worried about Emma growing up without her father. That's not going to happen. You don't know that. There's always a risk. We held each other in the dark living room until the sun came up. At 5 a.m., we drove to the hospital. My father was already there, being prepped for his surgery. Our operations were happening simultaneously. They'd take my kidney and immediately transplant it into him. In the pre-op area, Monica came to see me one last time. You can still back out, she said. Even now, even right up until the anesthesia. It's your choice. I know, I said. I'm doing this. Sarah held my hand while they put in the IV. She was trying so hard not to cry. I'll be right here when you wake up, she said. I love you, I said. Tell Emma I love her. Tell her yourself when you wake up, she said firmly. The last thing I remember is the anesthesiologist saying, count backwards from 10, and getting to about 7 before everything went black. But here's the thing. Nobody tells you about donating a kidney to someone who hurt you. Even if the surgery goes perfectly, even if you survive and recover, you still have to live with the choice. And sometimes the aftermath is worse than the decision itself. I'm getting ahead of myself, though. Let me tell you what happened after I woke up from surgery, because that's when things got really complicated. I woke up in the recovery room in so much pain, I thought something had gone horribly wrong. The nurse assured me it was normal. They'd made several incisions to remove the kidney laparoscopically, and pain after major surgery is expected. Sarah was there, crying with relief. "You're okay," she kept saying. "You're okay. The surgery went perfectly." "How's—" I couldn't finish the sentence. My throat was too dry. "Your father's doing well," she said quietly. "His surgery went fine too. The kidney is functioning." I nodded and fell back asleep. The next 48 hours are fuzzy. Pain meds, nausea, nurses checking vitals every hour. Sarah stayed with me the whole time. Her mom was watching Emma. On the second day, I was finally coherent enough to have visitors. Stephanie came first, alone. She looked exhausted. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Like someone stole my kidney," I said, trying to joke. It came out bitter. "Marcus, I don't know how to thank you. What you did, giving Dad a second chance after everything, it's more than he deserved." "Yeah," I said. "It is." She looked uncomfortable. "Can I be honest with you about something?" "Sure." "I'm struggling with what Dad told us, about your mom, about the child support, about how he pretended you didn't exist. Connor and I grew up thinking Dad was this great guy who'd had a complicated first marriage. We didn't know he was a deadbeat who abandoned his kid. And now you know," I said. "And now I feel guilty," she said. "We had this amazing father and you had nothing. That's not fair." "Life's not fair," I said. "But Stephanie, it's not your fault. You were a kid. You didn't choose any of this." "I know, but I keep thinking about all the father-daughter dances, all the times he was there for me. And he wasn't there for you at all." She wiped her eyes. "I'm sorry. You just had major surgery to save him, and here I am making it about my feelings." "It's okay," I said. And weirdly, it was. I appreciated her honesty. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Why did you do it? Really?" I thought about it. I did it because I didn't want to be like him. He made selfish choices that hurt people. I wanted to be better than that, even if it cost me. She nodded slowly. "For what it's worth, you are better. You're 10 times the person he is." After she left, Connor came by. Then Patricia, who awkwardly thanked me and left quickly. I think she felt ashamed. Then, 3 days post-op, when I was starting to move around a bit, I walked down to my father's room. He was awake, looking better than I'd seen him in weeks. The grayish tint to his skin was already fading. He saw me shuffling in with my IV pole and started crying. "Marcus, oh God, Marcus, you came." I sat down slowly in the chair by his bed. Everything hurt. "Your kidney," he said. "It's working. They said it started functioning immediately. Perfect match." "Good," I said. "I don't deserve this," he said. "I don't deserve you." "No," I agreed. "You don't." We sat in silence for a moment. Then he said, "I meant what I said. I'm going to be there from now on. I'm going to be the grandfather Emma deserves, the father you deserved." "We'll see," I said. "I know you don't believe me," he said, "but I'm going to prove it to you." I left shortly after. I was too tired and sore to have a deep conversation. I went home 4 days after surgery. The first week of recovery was brutal. I couldn't lift Emma, couldn't help much around the house. Sarah had to take time off work to care for me. I felt helpless and frustrated, but I was healing. The doctors were pleased with my progress. My remaining kidney was compensating well. Everything was going as expected medically. Emotionally, that was harder. My father started texting me every day. "Good morning, son. How are you feeling? Thinking of you." At first, I barely responded. Then I started sending short replies. "Fine. Okay. Thanks." 2 weeks post-op, he was discharged from the hospital. They'd kept him longer to make sure the kidney was functioning properly and to watch for rejection. Everything looked good. He asked if he could visit me at home. I said no. I wasn't ready. He said he understood. 3 weeks post-op, I was feeling much better. Back to work part-time. Still sore but manageable. That's when I got a call from Stephanie. "Marcus, I need to tell you something and you're going to be pissed." My stomach dropped. "What?" "Dad's. He's not following the post-transplant protocol. He's supposed to take his anti-rejection meds every day at specific times. I found out he's been skipping doses because they make him nauseous." I felt rage like I hadn't felt in years. "Are you kidding me? I gave him my kidney and he's not taking care of it?" "I know. Connor and I confronted him about it. He said he'll do better, but Marcus, I'm worried he's not taking this seriously." "Put him on the phone," I said. A minute later, my father's voice. "Hello? You're not taking your meds?" I said, my voice deadly calm. "I am. I just missed a couple doses." "I gave you my kidney," I said. "Do you understand what that means? I went under anesthesia. I let them cut into me. I risked my life. I have one kidney now for the rest of my life because of you. And you can't even take your pills?" "The side effects are really bad." "I don't care," I shouted. "You take those pills every single day at the exact time you're supposed to, or I swear to God I will never speak to you again. Do you understand me?" "Yes," he said quietly. "I'm sorry. You're right. I'll take them. Stephanie and Connor are going to check on you every day. If I hear you've missed even one dose, we're done." After I hung up, I just sat there shaking with anger. Sarah came over and hugged me. "This is what I was afraid of," she said, "that he'd take your gift for granted." "He promised he'd changed," I said. "People don't change that easily," she said. That incident made me question everything. Had I made a mistake? Had I risked my health for someone who didn't even appreciate it? But then, the next week, something shifted. My father showed up at my house unannounced. Sarah answered the door and called me over, her face uncertain. He was standing on our porch holding a huge bouquet of flowers and a gift bag. "I know you said you weren't ready for visitors," he said, "but I needed to see you in person, to apologize, really apologize." I let him in reluctantly. He sat on our couch, looking nervous. "I screwed up with the medications," he said. "I was being selfish again, taking the easy way out because the side effects were uncomfortable. Just like I took the easy way out 24 years ago." "Yeah, you did," I said. "I'm taking them now, every day, on time. Stephanie set up an alarm system on my phone. I'm not going to waste your gift." "Okay," I said, "but that's not why I came." He reached into the gift bag and pulled out a photo album. "I've been putting this together for the past week. I wanted you to see what you missed." He opened the album. It was full of photos from my childhood that I'd never seen. My first birthday party, my mom smiling, holding baby me, my father next to her looking proud. Christmas morning when I was 3, a day at the beach when I was 5. "Your mom sent me some of these after I left," he said. "I kept them even though I probably didn't deserve to. The rest I got from your Aunt Carol. I reached out to her and explained what I was doing." I flipped through the pages. There I was at every age, sometimes with my mom, occasionally with my father in the earlier photos. Moments I didn't remember or barely remembered. I wanted you to see that there was a time, even if it was brief, when I was there, when I loved you, before I became the coward who ran away. I felt tears on my face. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to know that leaving you wasn't about you not being enough. You were perfect. I was the broken one. He pointed to a photo of him pushing me on a swing, both of us laughing. That guy there? He loved his son. He just didn't know how to fight through his own demons to stay. We looked through the whole album together. He told me stories about the photos, things I was too young to remember, how I used to fall asleep on his chest, how I followed him everywhere, how proud he was when I took my first steps. I threw away something precious, he said, and I spent 24 years trying not to think about it, trying to pretend it didn't haunt me every single day. Did it? I asked. Haunt you? Every time Stephanie or Connor hit a milestone, I thought about you hitting that same milestone without me there. Every birthday, every Christmas, I wondered what you were doing, if you were okay, if you hated me. I did hate you, I said, for a long time. You had every right to. He closed the album. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking for a chance to be in your life going forward, to know my granddaughter, to show you that I can be better. Before I could respond, Emma toddled into the room. She'd been napping. She looked at my father curiously. Who dat? She asked me. I looked at my father, then at Emma. This was the moment. I could tell her he was just a friend and send him away. Or I could start building the bridge I'd decided to build when I donated the kidney. Emma, this is your grandpa. My father's face crumpled, and he started crying. Emma, being a toddler, walked right up to him and patted his knee. No cry, she said. No cry, Gampa. He laughed through his tears. Okay, sweetie, I won't cry. She climbed up onto the couch next to him, and he looked at me, silently asking permission. I nodded. He put his arm around her carefully, and she snuggled into his side, completely unbothered by this stranger's emotions. Sarah came in and saw the scene. She looked at me, questioning. I took her hand. We're trying, I told her quietly. Okay, she said. We're trying. That was 6 months ago. I'm writing this now because people keep asking for an update on how things turned out. So here's the truth. It's complicated. It's messy. It's not a fairy tale. My father has been in our lives consistently since that day. He comes over for dinner once a week. He babysits Emma sometimes. He came to her second birthday party last month. He's teaching her to draw. Apparently, he's pretty good at it, something I never knew. But here's what nobody tells you about reconciliation. It doesn't erase the past. Every time I see him with Emma, I feel happy that she has a grandfather and angry that I didn't have a father. Every time he shows up, I feel grateful and resentful at the same time. Some days are easier than others. Some days I'm glad I saved him. Other days I think about the surgery recovery, about the scar on my abdomen, about having one kidney for the rest of my life, and I feel angry all over again. He's trying, though. Really trying. He went to family therapy with me for 3 months. We don't go anymore. I needed a break from processing everything. But we might go back. He wrote me a long letter apologizing for everything, point by point. He set up a college fund for Emma, with some of the money he would have spent on child support for me. He can't give me back my childhood, but he's trying to make amends where he can. His health is good. The kidney is functioning perfectly. He takes his meds religiously now. He's actually healthier than he's been in years. Stephanie and Connor have become part of our lives too. Emma has cousins now. They're kids. We all got together for Thanksgiving. It was weird and awkward, and strangely nice all at once. Sarah is still processing everything. She's protective of Emma and of me. She's civil to my father, but she hasn't forgiven him for the harassment campaign or for the years of abandonment. She says maybe she will someday, but not yet. I respect that. The surgery itself, I don't regret it, but I don't not regret it either, if that makes sense. I'm glad I was able to save a life. I'm glad Emma has a grandfather. I'm glad I didn't let bitterness win. But I'm also aware that I made a massive sacrifice for someone who hurt me deeply, and the emotional weight of that doesn't just go away because he's trying to be better now. Here's something I've learned through all of this. Forgiveness isn't a moment. It's not a switch you flip. It's a daily choice. And some days I choose it and some days I don't. Some days I look at my father playing with Emma and I feel at peace. Other days I look at him and think, you owe me 24 years. The most complicated part? I think I'm grieving. I'm grieving the father I never had, while getting to know the grandfather my daughter has. I'm mourning my childhood, while watching him be present for hers. It's this weird mix of loss and gain happening at the same time. My therapist says this is normal. That reconciliation after abandonment is one of the hardest emotional experiences a person can go through, because you're building something new while the rubble of what was destroyed is still everywhere. A few weeks ago, Emma called my father Gampa and ran to hug him when he arrived for dinner. He picked her up and spun her around, and she squealed with delight. Sarah squeezed my hand. "Are you okay?" she whispered. "I don't know," I said honestly, "but I'm trying to be." And that's where I am, still trying, still processing, still figuring out if I made the right choice. Some people have told me I'm a saint for what I did. Others say I'm a fool. I don't think I'm either. I think I'm just a person who made an impossible choice in an impossible situation. Would I do it again, knowing what I know now? I genuinely don't know. Ask me tomorrow and I might give you a different answer than I would today. But here's what I do know. I can look Emma in the eye. When she's older and asks about her grandfather, I can tell her the complicated truth. That he failed me, but I gave him another chance anyway. That people can change, even if the change doesn't fix everything they broke. That sometimes doing the right thing means sacrificing something precious. And that's okay, even when it hurts. I also know that I broke a cycle. My father abandoned me because his father abandoned him. I could have continued that cycle by refusing to help, by cutting him off completely, by teaching Emma that family loyalty is conditional. Instead, I showed her something different. I showed her that even when people hurt us, we can choose compassion. We can choose to be bigger than our pain. Does that make me the villain or the hero of this story? I honestly don't know. The physical scar from the surgery has faded, but it's still visible. Sometimes I touch it and feel proud. Sometimes I touch it and feel stupid. Most of the time, I just forget it's there. Last week, Emma got a minor cut on her knee. She came crying to me, and I put a bandage on it. She saw my surgical scar and pointed at it. "Daddy have OE?" she asked. "I did," I said, "but it's all better now." "Kiss make better," she said, and kissed my stomach where the scar is. My father was there. He saw the whole exchange. When Emma ran off to play, he looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "for all of it. I'm sorry." "I know," I said. And weirdly, in that moment, I think I actually believed him. That's the update. It's not a clean resolution. It's not, I saved him, and now everything's perfect. Or, I saved him, and he let me down again. It's messier than that. It's real life, which doesn't usually come with clear-cut villains and heroes. So here's my question to all of you who've been following this story. Was I wrong to risk my health and my future for someone who abandoned me? Was I right to give him a second chance even though he didn't earn it? The truth is, I'm still figuring that out myself. Some final thoughts as I wrap this up. My relationship with my father is complicated and probably always will be. He's in therapy now, working through his abandonment issues. He's trying to understand why he did what he did, so he can be better going forward. That helps, but it doesn't erase 24 years. Sarah and I are stronger than ever, though this tested us. She says watching me go through this has made her love me more, even when she thought I was making a mistake. We're talking about having another baby, which brings up new anxieties about having one kidney, but doctors say I should be fine. Emma is thriving. She has 2 sets of grandparents now, Sarah's parents and my father, Patricia, aunts and uncles, cousins. She has the big family I never had. That matters to me more than I can express. My father's other kids, Stephanie and Connor, have become true siblings to me. We text regularly, get together with our families. They're good people who didn't ask to be in the middle of this mess. I'm glad I have them in my life. Patricia and I have an awkward but cordial relationship. She's never apologized for telling me I didn't exist when I was 16, and I haven't brought it up. Maybe someday we'll address it. Maybe we won't. For now, we're civil for the sake of everyone else. The harassment and social media campaigns still bothers me. Even though it led to me eventually helping, the way they went about it was wrong. My father has apologized for allowing it to happen. Stephanie and Connor have apologized for participating, but the fact that it happened at all shows how desperate they were, and maybe how entitled they felt to my help. I'm still in therapy, probably will be for a while. Processing all of this, the childhood abandonment, the adult reconciliation, the surgery, the ongoing relationship, it's a lot. Some weeks I think I've made peace with it. Other weeks I'm angry all over again. That's okay. Healing isn't linear. The financial aspect has been interesting. My father tried to pay for the surgery, but insurance covered most of it. He insisted on paying my deductible and copays though, about $8,000 total. He also, as I mentioned, set up a college fund for Emma with $50,000. He can't give me back the child support he didn't pay. That would be over $200,000 by now with interest. But he's trying to make financial amends where he can. One thing that still makes me bitter. His other kids got a father who was present, involved, supportive. They got college paid for. They got a dad who showed up. I got abandoned and then had to save him. That's just objectively unfair, and no amount of reconciliation changes that fact. But you know what? Life is unfair. People fail us. We have to decide if we're going to let that define us, or if we're going to define ourselves by how we respond to failure, ours and others. I chose to respond with compassion, even when I wanted to respond with anger. I chose to save a life even when that life didn't save mine when I needed it. I chose to be the person I wish my father had been. Does that make me a better person than him? Maybe. Does it make me a fool? Also maybe. But it makes me someone who can sleep at night, someone who can look his daughter in the eye, someone who broke a cycle of abandonment instead of continuing it. And maybe that's enough. So to answer the question that started all of this, am I the villain for hesitating to give my kidney to my father who abandoned me? Or am I the villain for giving it to him and potentially teaching my daughter that people can treat you terribly and you should help them anyway? I don't have the answer, I'm not sure there is a clear answer. What I do know is this. I made the choice I could live with. Maybe that's all any of us can do when faced with impossible decisions. My father is alive because of me. He has years left to be a grandfather to Emma, to try to make amends, to be better. Whether he uses those years well is up to him. I have a scar and one kidney and a complicated relationship with the man who gave me life and then walked away from it. And somehow, impossibly, we're building something new from the wreckage of what could have been. Is it enough? I don't know. Ask me in another 6 months, or 6 years, or 60. For now, it's what I've got, and I'm learning to live with that. So here's my final question to you all. Give me a rating from 0 to 10. 0 being I'm completely the villain who made the wrong choice. 10 being I'm completely in the right. And tell me in the comments, who do you think is the real villain in this story? Is it my father for abandoning me? Is it me for holding it against him? Is it his family for harassing me? Is it the situation itself? I genuinely want to know what you think, because honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. If this story moved you at all, please hit that like button and subscribe to Who's the Villain? AITA. These moral dilemmas are never as clear-cut as they seem, and your perspective helps me, and others reading this, process these impossible situations. Thanks for following along on this journey. It's been one of the hardest things I've ever shared, but I think there's value in showing that life doesn't always come with clean resolutions. Sometimes we make choices and spend the rest of our lives figuring out if they were right.